WGPR Detroit, number one for hip hop, number one for R&B, and number one in the 313. That's how we do. Hot 107.5.
What up, though? I'm from the land of opportunity, the Motor City. D-Town, hold it down, so I gotta get it. Growing up, they always told me that the sky's the limit. I'm spacebound and flying out 1,000,000 miles a minute. From the west all the way to the east side. We all family, it don't matter where you reside. On the block, way more than the street signs. Tell me where you're from, go ahead and throw it up. From the Coney off Evergreen all the way to the Riverwalk. Mac and Bewick, let me see it, Avenue of Fashion. Belle Isle, get wild to the spirit. Detroit is us versus everybody. You don't really have a choice, but I do this for my sisters and my brothers that know the struggles holding it down for our single mothers and single fathers that just want to see us go farther. So we go harder and grow smarter. Cause
it's my smile, it's my pain. I just shine in the rain. When the odds stacking up, I get down in the mud. It's the spirit, it's the joy. You can tell from Detroit. I look around like I need town with me, and I stay so rooted in my city. I am Detroit, I'm Detroit for life.
It's the first Sunday of the month, and you know what that means? It's time for Detroit for Life, the radio show that allows you to tap into opportunities offered by the city, all because you live in Detroit. Welcome to Detroit for Life. Here are your hosts, Vicki Thomas and Dodie Johnson.
Well, good morning and happy Sunday to you. We are rolling into July. The year is half gone.
Can you believe it?
Incredible. Can't believe it. You are listening to Detroit for Life. You're on Hot 107.5 WGPR. It's my pleasure to be the co-pilot here on this wonderful show that we have on. And Vic, it's on you.
Yes, Dodie, it's great to be back this month. I hope everyone had an amazing 4th of July holiday weekend. It's rapidly coming to a close, but we hope you enjoyed it and had time to spend with family, friends, and whatnot. I know I sure did, and it's been great, and now we're closing it out with this show, and it's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about Detroit's Shot Stoppers Community Violence Intervention Program, which is having a huge impact in the zones where we have CVI. We're also going to be talking about a big event coming up at Spirit Plaza on Friday, Disability Pride, and we're also going to be talking with Ray Solomon, the director of the Department of Neighborhoods, and we're also going to talk to some young people who are part of the Youth Affairs Outreach Program. We're excited to have them take to the airwaves to talk about the great things that they're doing. And Dodie, I think we're just going to jump right on into it now.
Let's do it.
All right, on the live line, we have Michael Peterson, and Michael is the Community Violence Intervention City of Detroit Mayor's Office, and he's running the Shot Stoppers program, doing a great job. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And you know what? The mayor, we just had a press conference a little bit ago talking about the results that we're seeing from Shot Stoppers. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the mayor announced we actually, because of that progress that we're seeing, we're actually we just put out a new, what's called a NOFA, or Notice of Funding Availability. And essentially what it's going to allow us to do is expand and open up and allow an additional 1 to 2 groups to hopefully be able to cover some of the areas that aren't currently covered by any of our CVI groups. But it's all due to the fact that, these groups have been working hard in their communities, building relationships, most importantly, and really trying to help, de-escalate situations, mentor and mediate, and make sure that, they're doing their part to proactively try to keep the violence down within our city. And so, since we started, we're actually just wrapping up our first year of the program. It's been a blur. I know you say we're already halfway through the year. I'm like, man, I can't time go it. But it's been incredible. We'll be wrapping up our first year here shortly, and in the last 2 quarters, we've seen some of our groups see anywhere from 30% decline in homicides and non-fatal shootings within their CVI zone, up to 70% decline in their quarters. So, I mean, it's just really tremendous. And just for comparison's sake, for those that are not familiar with the program, the citywide numbers for those have been anywhere from 36 in the second quarter, 36% decline, to a 23% decline last quarter in the areas that are not being covered by Shot Stoppers groups. So, that's a pretty significant reduction from last year, on top of, what the city is seeing as a whole, because obviously we're really glad to see the city's numbers come down as a whole. But, when we dive deeper into these areas where these groups are working, they're seeing some pretty significant reductions.
And talk about the groups. How many are there, and the names of the groups?
Sure, absolutely. So we've got, currently we've got 6 groups that were on from the very beginning. We've got Detroit People's Community, and they're also known as the People's Action. Most people know them by that name. We've also got Detroit 300. Obviously, they've been around for quite some time. Most people in Detroit are familiar with them. We've got New Era Community Connection. They are one of our groups. We've also got Force Detroit. And then over on the east side, we've got the Detroit Friends and Family. And then we've also got a coalition, 2 groups, the Denby Neighborhood Alliance and Camp Restore, and they have been partnered with Wayne Metro as their fiduciary. So that was our 6th group.
All right. And they all have zones that they're responsible for, and the metrics are key in determining the success of these groups. And those that are really doing great things are actually eligible for additional funding.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that were really unique about our program, and why some other cities and states have been watching this closely, is that what we did was we said, okay, in order for us to actually measure the results and actually be able to, give tribute or respect to the groups for the work that they're doing, we needed to make sure we had a way to measure it. So one of the things that we did was, we wanted to have very intense work within specific areas instead of just saying, hey, go out and fix the city, right? It's not really realistic. So each group, kind of raised their hand and said, hey, area I've got ties in and have built community relations in. And so all the groups are only working within a 3 to 5 square mile radius. And so they're, working within there, which obviously helps for us when it comes to tracking and being able to measure it against the city. But that second piece that's really unique to our program is that we said, okay, not only are we going to fund these groups and give them a base amount, which was $700,000 for the year, which is significant if you look across the nation and other programs, but we said, well, go ahead and fund you so you don't have to worry about that, because a lot of them have been working off of really just handouts and donations up until this point. But on top of that, we said what we'll do is we'll also allow you to double the amount of funding that you're getting if we're able to see those reductions that are beating the citywide trend. And so they're eligible for what are called performance grants. And so each quarter we look at, we measure. We work with DPD closely. Obviously, they've been a great partner in this, and making sure that we're able to get the numbers that we need to see. So we look at, we're only looking at homicides and non-fatal shootings. We're trying to keep it really simple, the most violent of the crimes that we're seeing in our city. And yeah, that's what we're able to measure and give them that eligibility to go ahead and get performance grants based on, the great work that they're doing.
All right. And one of those groups doing great work is Force Detroit. And we have DeJuan Zoe Kennedy here. And Zoe, tell us what you're out there doing and what area you're responsible for.
I'm responsible for the 48228. Our boundaries are the west side of Southfield Freeway or Southfield Service Drive to Ruich Park, from Ford Road to Plymouth. And one of the main things that we lean into heavy is ongoing mentorship, identifying those highly impacted by violence in their families, and offering them support. One of the things or the approaches that we use, we're big on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We try to enter into individuals' lives and into their household by meeting their basic needs, then meeting their safety needs, then meeting their need or sense of belonging to, then pouring into them where prestige and status boost their self-esteem, healthy prestige and status, and try to figure out what they're trying to become and help them with the top of that pyramid, which is actualization.
Yeah, realizing it.
Yes.
And so your group has been really successful. I think you've gotten the performance grant each time, right?
Yes, we've been blessed.
And so this is serious boots on the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and talk about the impact that it's had in the community. I mean, what are you seeing? Like the results being what's it look like? The difference in the community.
Well, in our communities, and I would say this, I could speak for my community because I'm from my community and I grew up over there. My family moved over there in the 70s. It was a Polish community. We was the biggest family in the community. Grandmother having 11 children, auntie having 7, them living right around the block from each other. What we've seen in the community to change is we're trying to bring back how it was when we were younger before the crack epidemic. When the neighbors knew the neighbors, they got along, you could discipline the children. The difference is the young men and young women are more trust, they trust more because the outreach is happening. So it's been mistrust there. It's been like older black men, and I can say this, I was let down as a young black man. No one was there to really stay on me because they were trying to make sure they pay their bills, they take care of their children. My father was addicted to drugs, and my father was an intellectual, hard-working man, but that harmed us. Now you have a field or a profession where we can spend our time and energy just pouring into young men, giving them guidance and directing them to resources that community and the government has to offer.
Right. And what makes you be able to connect with the young people in the community?
I have lived experience, and I also have a street IQ. And I'm
a street IQ.
What is that?
Right.
Break that down for me.
Right.
I know, so you have social cues, right? Social cues. You can tell. I studied psychology, self-taught in prison for a lot of years. I was a suicide watch companion. I took some of the information that I learned in there and applied it to the streets. So a street IQ, you know when certain stuff going on in the streets to shut up, leave, what to do, what not to do. I'm going to give you an example. When I drop a young man off, depending on we do a risk assessment on the home, I'm not pulling up in the driveway because I'm not getting blocked into the driveway. Mm-hmm. That's street IQ. If I'm in a car with someone, my car has tinted windows, right? If I'm going to meet with someone who someone's trying to murder, because it's that serious, we are intervening in violence. That means we could be a victim of that as well.
Right.
So it's no different than any profession or anything that you do. You have to understand the mechanics of it. And I understand the mechanics of the streets because I've been in, I wasn't raised in the streets. I was raised with a working class family. My mother worked for the Board of Education, my grandmother, all my aunties, uncles. But I participated in street activities since I was 11 years old. So I understand how to move. I spent 15 years in prison. I have an IQ when it comes to this stuff because I've survived it, right? But I've been on a healthier side of how I use the information and the stuff that I learned.
And that was one of the things that really comes to mind, that you are now putting your life on the line so that other people won't take the path that you took to spend 15 years or however many years in prison to just get them on the right path.
And you got to think, like, a lot of people say it's admirable, but you got to think we put our lives on the line to go out and buy cars, shoes, clothes, jewelry, and go party. You know, I've watched people take people's lives for money and go take the money and go buy clothes with it, go buy jewelry with it, go smoke it, all because they wanted to feel that thing that's in Maslow's hierarchy: status, self-esteem. They wanted to feel that so much that they would go out. You want to feel like you worth something that bad that you would take somebody's life, or you would harm somebody or give somebody something that's going to debase them.
Right.
Because addiction will do that to you. It have you doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean? It'll lower standards a little bit, depending on what you're addicted to.
And what kind of events, like, do you hold events? How do you really get in there and reach people? Well, we reach people because we have pre-existing relationships. We street. And that's key, right? Yeah. So you might not see us out passing out stuff, but that's an important part of community. We spun this year being intentional on, one, staffing up, getting the right people who can go out really do the work without getting anybody hurt. I'm going to give you an example. If I'm dealing with an individual, example. So I was dealing with a young man, house constantly getting shot up. The trust factor has to be there. We have to show that we're not afraid. They're not going to come out of their comfort zone. We had to go to the house that was constantly getting shot up. The street IQ kicks in. If we go into the house, where are we going to have a meeting at in the house? What's the safest place in the house if it's constantly getting shot up? I'm asking. Probably the basement. Of course. So we go have our meeting in the basement. We go get some Hungry Howies, come over there, bunch of boxes of pieces, sit down with them, offer some resources, have expectations for them to receive the resources, and figure out who they're in conflict with, go out and reach out to them, do the same thing. Relentless engagement to build a relationship with both sides, and more often than not, one side probably will be in conflict with 5 different groups, but we have to go reach out to all those groups, build relationships with them to be able to influence them not to attack and do certain things. I'm going to tell you, one of the most simple things that we're doing, telling young men, young women, don't hunt each other. We got to get to that before we even get y'all to sit down and hug each other. Don't shoot nobody's house up over here, because when you shoot that house, it's a family in there that ain't got nothing to do with what y'all doing. Right. Don't shoot at that man while he with it. Stop hunting each other. Let's start with that. Stop hunting each other and focus on getting your life together, and maybe you will start acquiring things and doing things that give you a reason to live instead of trying to be out here trying to kill somebody.
My question would be to you, Zoe, is that I know in those kinds of situations, I know you encounter children, small children and babies at risk. Yes. Are there situations that you've come into as of late that have been so bad that the kids need to be referred for the safety of the children and the babies elsewhere? And are you able to make those assessments and referrals for those kids? Let's just say both of the parents have a horrifying drug problem. Yes. And let's say that there's somebody that's looking for them to do something for them, and you can obviously see that their babies are being severely neglected. What would be your...
Oh, you know, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. I'm gonna get the parents in treatment, and I'm gonna get the children some form of treatment. I'm gonna do the ethical thing. I haven't ran into a lot of parents that's addicted to the point to where someone's out to harm them, but I have ran into a mother that was addicted. We was offering her cash assistance, and we was taking care of hers. I didn't know she was addicted. She was on prescription medicine, but that led her to having an opioid addiction. Mm-hmm. So we were giving her cash assistance, and this woman said, I'm like, yeah, we gonna help you. And she said, like, if you give me that money, like, I'm going to kill myself with it. Like, I need treatment. I'm like, damn. Wow. Man, our people, like...
They need somebody to
and they
intervene.
Still got it in them. Yeah. Like, we still got the right stuff in us, but we're constantly bombarded with external images, messages,
And don't see a way out until you show up.
Right. So you have to, like, trust and mistrust is a big thing in the black community. You can get your people to trust you. You can guide them. But we've been let down, and the people we've trust have abused us or mistreated us or been murdered so many times that the faith that you have in transformation or in healing falls short when it comes to that. But I would remove them, and with her, we put her in rehab. I had to, because her sons, they were 16, 17, one of them was 18. I had to make sure I checked on them every day. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you can't even send them with no other family, and they'll run if you try and put them in some type of institutional
situation. Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, we definitely applaud you for the work that you do. And CVI is actually funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. President Joe Biden gave the city of Detroit, through the American Rescue Plan Act, $827 million. And so, Michael, I just wanted you to jump back in for a minute. We heard some of the great things that Force Detroit is doing. Talk a little bit about some of the other things that the CVI groups are doing around the city.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and Zoe obviously touched on it, and this is what we're learning, right, as we continue to go and move forward and kind of learn from best practices from each of the groups. But that trust factor is so important. It cannot be overstated, right? So, what a lot of groups are doing, another example is trying to build relationships within the schools, right, and understanding that a lot of this begins at such an early age. And so, instead of hoping or waiting that you're going to catch someone outside of it, a lot of them are going in and really doing everything they can, whether it's impacting, trying to improve the truancy and having folks in there, but really trying to, when you think of meeting people where they are, sometimes that's exactly it when it comes to the youth. And so, I think of groups like, the People's Action, Detroit People's Community, they've really tried to make it their purpose to be engaged within the schools that are within their zones, the high schools. And so they're actually, showing up. They have a weekly schedule where these kids now, they know they're coming. And so they look forward to it, right? They know which days that their, violence intervention workers are going to be there, right? And it's just that additional level of comfort and trust that they have with them when they see them show up for them day in and day out. Another thing that Zoe mentioned was relentless engagement. That's exactly it right there. They want you to know I'm going to be here no matter what. And the kids begin to feel that safety. And another thing that I really like when I think about New Era, for example, is their community accountability. Community accountability. It's not just I have to hold myself to a certain level, but everyone plays a role. Everyone plays a part. And they really enforce that. And the people that know of New Era know that that's the case. You're not going to get a pass, just because you're doing okay in your household, but you're right next door and you know what's going on over there. Like, what are you doing, right? Or as a business owner, allowing certain things to happen outside of your business, in your business. That's that level of accountability. If you're going to be within the community, you need to be held accountable as well. So, I think those are just some of the things that they're doing that, I think is just been incredible work. And from our office, or at least from government, from the very beginning, we've come into this understanding that we are not the experts in this. We're going to continue to learn, and we want to continuously be a partner and work towards continuous improvement. No one has this thing figured out. If it was, we wouldn't have the issues of violence that we have. But we do know that we can't continue to, as we've heard before, police our way out of these issues. Law enforcement is an incredible tool and an asset, but it can't be the only thing. And so our office and, the city where we come from is how can we continue to partner with these groups and make sure that they are not only that we're telling them we're going to support them, but they feel the support and the partnership coming from us so that we can ultimately work together to do our part and try to curb as much of the violence as possible and make sure that all of our communities feel safe and can, like Zoe said, get back to that feeling of being able to just walk about and go and enjoy your neighbors and your community events and things without having to look over your shoulder. I have 2 little ones. I'd love for them to be able to just, I'm going around the corner to such and such house. Cool. have fun, be back, before
the street lights, right? Come on. Back in the day, right?
That idea is, sure, it might not be exactly like that as we, grow and learn, but there's something to be said for that. And I really genuinely appreciate the work that these groups are doing, because it is not easy. It's not a 9 to 5. They're often getting calls, throughout the nights, weekends, et cetera. So, but they show up and show out. I mean, we're going to do that regardless, but at least now, from the city standpoint, we're able to help invest in that and provide as many resources as possible.
I have 2 questions for both of you. First of all, Mike, I know that you're like embedded in this. You really take this seriously, and I just want to know what you get out of it. Like, what kind of impact has it had on you?
It's incredible. It's one of those things you don't necessarily, as a kid at least, and maybe, groups like those groups and these others will change that, but you don't grow up and think that you want to come into this type of work, right? So I feel extremely blessed to have been selected for this work. And I sleep so well at night because I know that the impact that I'm having, I know the relationships that I'm building with these groups are ultimately helping my community. I believe in that village mindset. That's part of the reason why I've been in Michigan and got family and friends here, and I want to raise my kids here. So for me, this is certainly more than a job or a paycheck or anything like that. This is absolutely me doing what I feel like is the little bit that I can do within my community and within my village. And it's to support these groups that are doing the work that no one really raises their hand to do, but they know it has to be done. And so I'm extremely indebted, but I'm thankful to be in this position to do this work.
And so, same question.
Me is extremely edifying to be raised how I was raised, right? And to be able to exemplify the teachings that come from both sides of my family, and to be able to do it the way I want to do it, to be able to show up how I've seen other men in the past show up for their community. One of my favorite people is Fred Hampton, and I watched how he ran around the city trying to bring everybody together and being strategic and intelligent enough to understand something has to happen politically as well. Our community has to understand politics and understand where they fit in that. And I say that because we know what the social determinants of health are. So we know what makes up a healthy community. And those things have to be afforded to our community, especially our underserved community. And you can see certain things just like litter. That's a sign of depression when they talk about it in psychology. So it's been I'm happy and proud of myself. And I remember coming up, you hide the things you do. You hide how you get your money. You hide, you don't want nobody in your business. To not walk around to work or to do something and to be proud of it. Not to be ashamed. Not to be worried. To be able to sit in rooms with law enforcement and look at them and be respected by them and respect them and appreciate them. And to be appreciated by them. To be appreciated by government. To be appreciated by community. It's extremely edifying when you're appreciated for the right thing and taking care of your people.
Well, you should be proud of the work that you all are doing. And what would you say to the mayor for creating this program?
I would say thank you, because I know what he did. Across the country, they have individuals take models from people who have developed things, and they developed these things before the pandemic. Human behavior has changed since that. You can't tell me 2 years of that, feeling like you're going to die if you breathe air, not being able to come out the house, anarchy, because there was anarchy going on doing that, lawlessness, that it's the same. So I would say thank you for allowing community to show that we are leaders, that we can solve some of our own problems if we have support. I would say thank you for being a community member, because they are community members as well. We look at them, community leaders as well. We look at them like we look at our brothers to the right of us and sisters to the left of us. So I would say thank you to them, because they have shown up fully for us and let us be us in solving our own problems.
All right. Well, Zoe, thank you so much. Dewan, Zoe Kennedy, Force Detroit, Michael Peterson with the Mayor's Office Community Violence Intervention Program. You all have a great Sunday. Thank you for spending this time with us and talking about this important program.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. We appreciate you, and thanks for spotlighting it.
All right. Have a good one, Mike. And we'll be back to talk about disability pride after this brief break.
Unemployed, being a burden. Project Clean Slate helped wipe those things away. I am now able to work for a reputable airline. Detroit had my back, all because I live in Detroit.
We're helping Detroiters like Stephen get a fresh start through Project Clean Slate, a free expungement program for Detroit residents. Project Clean Slate, reclaim your life. Visit DetroitMI.gov/Detroit.
It's the spirit, it's the joy. You can tell from Detroit.
Sign up today at DetroitMI.gov/Detroit for life or call 313-237-3024.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Wake up and get your hustle on.
What up, y'all? It's the Morning Hustle with L'Oreal and Kyle Santillian. And yo, shout out to all our hustlers. We asked you to fill in the blank. I can't trust you if. And when I say y'all filled in the blank, y'all did the damn thing.
I can't trust nobody that think hard liquor on the weekday knowing they gotta go to work the next day.
I can't trust you if you don't use a washcloth to take a shower. I can't trust you if you walking around looking fly and your kids are dirty.
If you start off your sentence with like, let me holler at you.
You know some bullshit coming up next. Yo, so much fun hanging out with y'all each and every day on the Morning Hustle. Can't wait to get back at it with y'all next time right here on the Morning Hustle.
Wake up and get your hustle on.
Hustle.
Has your criminal record held you back? Are you in need of a fresh start in life? Detroit has your back. Project Clean Slate is a free expungement program for Detroit residents. Sign up today at DetroitMI.gov/Detroit for life or call 313-237-3024.
All right, welcome back to Detroit for Life radio show here on WGPR Hot 107.5. And joining us now to talk about this Disability Pride event coming up on Friday at Spirit Plaza is Christopher Samp. And Christopher is our director of the Office of Disability Affairs. And joining him is Stephanie Beatty, right? Stephanie is his interpreter. And Christopher, welcome to the Detroit for Life show.
Thank you. My name is Christopher Sam. I use he, him pronoun. I'm an olive-skinned bald male in a gray suit. I'm wearing glasses and hearing aid. I get this compliment a lot. People say I have a beautiful smile. I'm also communicating in American Sign Language and spoken English because I'm deaf. So, as you hear this, I'm giving my physical description for individuals who rely on visual information to identify who I am, including blind and deaf-blind listening audience. So, I'm the director of the Office of Disability Affairs in the city of Detroit. We're a division under the Civil Rights, Inclusion, and Opportunity Department, currently directed by Mr. Anthony Zander. So, I want to thank you for having me today to talk about the Disability Pride celebration.
All right, and you're the first director of the department, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So, the Office of Disability Affairs was a decade in the making. People with disability were fighting so hard to advocate for their rights. They talked to the city council, they talked to the mayor, they hosted a town hall, and said we need to have an office that focuses on accessibility and accommodation for people with disability. So in 2021, Mayor Mike Duggan formally announced the creation of the Office of Disability Affairs. So I'm honored to lead and develop this office. So yes, I'm excited. We serve over 119,000 residents with a disability. That's about 1 out of 4 residents who have a disability. So,
1 out of 4?
Yeah, in Detroit.
Wow.
I had no idea. And so talk about the Disability Pride event coming up on Friday at Spirit Plaza.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Disability Pride Month is an important time to celebrate the contribution and resilience of people with disability. We're embracing our difference and recognizing that disability is part of who we are. It's crucial. It's more than just accessibility. It's about innovation and problem solving. Assistive technology like that are designed for people with disability have enriched many people, including those without disability. Like, for example, we have captioning on social media. Not only a benefit deaf and hard of hearing, but also people who have English as a second language or people who just want to enjoy social media in quiet environment. Vehicles that help people who don't have a driver license gain access to driving cars. So these innovation transformation help make a world better place. So I want to mention in this room, the studio, I'm looking around, I see different pictures of musician and band. I have noticed one person in particular is Stevie Wonder. And
Yes.
I remember growing up watching TV, my mom was like, "Hey, Christopher, come here, look on TV. Stevie Wonder, he's a blind person." I'm like, oh. I was born deaf, so I was like, I don't know who's my role model. So Stevie Wonder is a role model for many of us. But there are also another person I want to recognize, Aretha Franklin. She is amazing. I grew up loving jazz and the blues, and she has a person on her tour. Her name is Sammy Bryant. She's a little person. She's a gospel singer. Not a lot of people knew that she had someone with a disability on a tour with her. So that's why I'm really excited to celebrate Disability Pride Month. So the city of Detroit is hosting its first Disability Pride celebration. So our theme is connecting community and strengthening partnership. It's a wonderful opportunity to showcase achievements and resources while fostering a more accessible and supportive environment for our residents. So it's this Friday, July 12th, from 11 a.m. to 2:30. It's free and open to the public. And if you don't know where the Spirit Plaza is, it's right next to the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. There will be over 20 different community partners and city departments, food trucks, music, and a panel moderated by our own Miss Wheelchair Michigan Shanta Favors. So come celebrate and learn about the different resources available in Detroit.
And there's also going to be a flag raising. So what's the significance of that?
So the Disability Pride flag, for those who are not familiar with it, so we wanted to recognize the contribution and the disability community. So in 2019, Anne McGill has cerebral palsy. She designed the original flag. It has a zigzag pattern, but then later we designed it to be more accessible. So in 2021, we officially have a Disability Pride flag. So to give you a visual description, it has a charcoal black background with 5 stripes of color going diagonal from upper left corner to the bottom right corner. So each of the 5 colors represent something. So like, for example, red represent people who have physical disability. Gold means neurodiversity. White means individual disability who are not impaired or have not been diagnosed. And then we have blue that represent emotional and psychiatric disability, including mental illness, anxiety, and depression. And lastly, the green, it means for those who have sensory disability that include deaf people, blind, those who have a lack of smell, of taste, audio processing disorder, and other sensory disability. But lastly, I want to mention the black background represent mourning and rage for victim of ableist violence and abuse. So having a diagonal color cut across the black background represents the barriers that separate the disabled people and their society. So it represents the light and creativity cutting through the darkness. So that's what it means, the Disability Pride flag. And we're excited to be raising it for the first time in the city. So come check it out this Friday.
All right, great. Again, that's Disability Pride Celebration, Friday, July 12th, 11 a.m. to 2:30 at Spirit Plaza. Mayor Mike Duggan will be there. Council members, Councilman Fred Durhall, Anthony Zander, who is our director of CREO, Christopher Samp. You'll get to meet him if you come out. Stop him and say hello. And Christopher, thank you so much for being on the show today. We appreciate you taking the time out.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, and we'll be back to talk with some young people and our director of the Department of Neighborhoods, Ray Solomon, after this brief break.
Record held you back? Are you in need of a fresh start in life? Detroit has your back. Project Clean Slate is a free expungement program for Detroit residents. Sign up today at detroitmi.gov/Detroit for life or call 313-237-3024.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Michigan. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Michigan High School Athletic Association and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Being unemployed, being a burden. Project Clean Slate helped wipe those things away. I am now able to work for a reputable airline. Detroit had my back. all because I live in Detroit.
We're helping Detroiters like Stefan get a fresh start through Project Clean Slate, a free expungement program for Detroit residents. Project Clean Slate. Reclaim your life. Visit DetroitMI.gov/Detroit for life.
To figure it out. All right, welcome back to Detroit for Life radio show here on Hot 107.5. Joining us live in studio this Sunday morning, Mr. Ray Solomon, Director of the Department of Neighborhoods. Thanks for being here on Sunday, Ray.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right, and tell us, for people that don't know about the Don, and I'll tell you a funny story. When I started in the mayor's office, when they said the Don, I'm like, who is the Don? It's like the Godfather.
So funny.
And then I realized, okay, it's a whole department.
Did you think it was Corleone?
Department of Neighborhoods.
So tell us about
known as the Don. So when Mayor Duggan first came into office, that was a time where the charter had changed and we moved into districts. So there are, I'm gonna talk as if you don't know, there are 7 districts, and in those 7 districts, there are 2 representatives that are appointed, and then a elected representative would be your council person. The appointed are appointed by Mayor Duggan, and that will be district manager and deputy manager. So that is the team I have a pleasure of working with.
And it's interesting with the Don, you all actually have your ear to the ground. You're out in the community. When things happen, you probably hear them first.
A lot of times. So we are the first point of contact for a lot of residents. So you need someone to cut through the red tape, or you don't understand the information the department has given you. We've built strong relationships with our residents through the Department of Neighborhoods. So we get invited to their block club meetings. We even get invited to backyard barbecues every now and then, because over the 10 years, a real bond has been formed, and I would say we've not only serviced the residents, but we've become friends with a lot of the residents.
And tell me about some of the meetings and how people can plug in to the Department of Neighborhoods and their district managers.
Absolutely. So if you go to the city's website and go search the Department of Neighborhoods, you will see a list of our meetings by district, but our standing meeting that a lot of residents attend would be the Doncast, which is every Monday at 5 o'clock. So we'll have a highlight of some local businesses. We'll have highlights of block clubs and just any information that a city department needs to push out. For an example, just recently we acquired a new contractor to do trash in the city of Detroit, so they rolled that out on the Doncast, just to give you an example of type of information. So residents are able to say, when will bulk pickup be? What's going to change? And the contractors and DPW were able to come on and explain to residents what to expect.
So if they want information, people say information is power. It definitely is. Then they should stay connected with their.
Absolutely. For those that are comfortable with jumping on the internet. Each one of your Don's phone numbers are listed, but we also have a hotline, 313-224-4415, where we have someone answering that number, and then they'll relay a message to your Don, your district manager or deputy manager.
All right. And again, they can go to the website to find out more about the Department of Neighborhoods and the meetings and whatnot. And Ray, you brought along some young people that are part of the Department of Neighborhoods. Who do we have here?
Absolutely. Well, I'll give a quick story. I'll let them introduce themselves, but a phenomenal group. Had a conversation with the mayor about talent retention. We send our kids away to school, they get really, really smart, and then they relocate somewhere else on the planet.
Right.
Absolutely.
So the mayor challenged us to figure out a way to begin to contact and communicate with those young people to show them the opportunities that you have within the city of Detroit. Some may not know that we have a media team. Some may not know the health department has multiple jobs, DPW, Department of Public Works. So anyway, there's a lot of jobs within the city of Detroit. And then we also have partners that we partner with where one could go to school and come back and have their career here so we can retain the talent. So long story short, the mayor said, we should get their peers. We should get someone that talks their language and can relate, and they know how to connect. And the group has done a phenomenal job. I just can't speak enough about Shamir, Logan, Devon. You will hear their stories. Logan's charisma is what had me like, this guy. he has the it thing.
The it factor.
He has the it factor. Shamir, energy, amazing. Devon, creativity. If you're looking at any of our posts that the Department of Neighborhood does, 90% of that he produced. So I will pass it over. We'll start with Shamir.
I'm so happy to be here. This is my first time being on the radio show. Like, I hear Hot 107.5 all the time, so I'm super happy.
That makes Dodie proud.
Yes, it does. To all of our listeners.
So I'm telling you, she was so excited when I said Hot 107.5.
Our demo is ever expanding.
Right.
That's all I can say. And you know what? It's a pleasure because we are the oldest and the only African American owned and operated broadcast property in the country today. That doesn't mean that other black people don't. We're the oldest, and it has maintained the same ownership for 60 plus. So thank you for that.
So say your whole name and tell them what you do. And this group of young people, they're with the Office of Youth Affairs, which falls under the Department of Neighborhoods.
The Young Dons.
Yes, the Young Dons.
The Young Dons. Ray's in trouble.
Oh, boy.
Hand it off.
Members of the 5 families.
All right, I'm Shamir Duncan. I am the Youth Affairs Engagement Coordinator on the Youth Affairs team in the Mayor's Office. It's operated under the Department of Neighborhoods. Our mission and our goal is to attract, retain, and engage young people in the city of Detroit across all of the districts and all of the communities. Right now, our main goal, our main focus is really just engagement, really showing young people what the city has, what we have to offer. But just to give some more background on what Ray said on how we got here. So I started out as a Merrill Fellow. So the city has a Merrill Fellowship program that runs annually every year. I got the opportunity to become a Merrill Fellow. During my 10 weeks, I spent that entire 10 weeks building out of what this youth affairs team would look like with a couple of other fellows, some to name Willeen Smith, Amulin Rasmus. They were a part of this development over the summer. By the end of that Merrill Fellowship, when we felt prepared, Ray made sure we was prepared. We went before the mayor, and we got a chance to pitch in front of all of cabinet. So that meant that it was every director head, it was all of the police chiefs, all of the fire chiefs. I mean, it was so many people in the room.
You all did a great job. You sold it, apparently, right? Obviously.
Thank you. So we in that space, we're presenting, and the mayor, he's just like, yeah, like thumbs up, like do it, go for it. And after that, I mean, the momentum has just like immediately like picked up. We've started, and we're in the process right now of rolling out different programs. So we've been running our shadow program. It's a program where young people are able to gain exposure to city departments, and also just to get exposure to how city departments operate and how they work. We also have our Young Doncast, so similar to the Doncast, but the Young Doncast, and we have young people come on there, and they have an opportunity to really speak about, you know, what they do, how they grew up, what they love about Detroit, hear about some resources, and get some, you know, information regarding just some different things that are upcoming around the city and how young people can be involved in those things.
All right, and let's move over to Logan.
What up, though, Detroit?
What up, though?
You had to say it, man. Iconic. But yeah, my name is Logan Newman. I'm the Youth Affairs Outreach Coordinator, so I'm the one who goes out into the field, gets the people, bring the people in to come help us and fulfill some of our programming. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. I've been here since January 16th, which that was the first day the Youth Affairs team was created and put into act. So it's just been an amazing experience with the city of Detroit. Every day has looked completely different, but also gives me a better perspective about what goes on in between city walls and the different type of logistics that goes on between, you know, just things that happen behind the scenes for the city. So our job is to help our youth have that same experience and get that same perspective so that maybe they have a deeper respect and pride for Detroit so they can stay here and build their careers and their families and their whole lives here in Detroit. So I'm a pride Detroiter. I love Detroit with a passion, and I encourage all youth to stay in Detroit and to build their lives in Detroit and to also take advantage of these opportunities as well. One thing about my position as being a recruiter is I have to go out and get the people. And, there's a lot of young black men as well who are out there who aren't taking advantage of this program. We just want to encourage our young black men. We love our women. Our women are always going to take initiative. Yes, without the black women, we are nothing. So, but we do encourage our young black men to take initiative, to lead our communities. So as well, we can have that representation in those decision-making rooms as well. So, yeah, appreciate you guys for having us here. We're very, very grateful to be here.
And I have to say, you have a great radio voice.
Well, if anyone's listening, you know what I'm saying, y'all can get at me. Opportunities available. You know what I'm saying?
And let's move on to Devon, the talented one, the creator.
How everybody doing? My name is Devon Trevier, social media specialist at the Department of Neighborhoods. Currently go to College for Creative Studies, studying film and art education. And just working at the Don, working in the mayor's office, creating like a lot of content, especially like in the neighborhoods, like just telling everybody stories and seeing the videos like blow up and get hundreds and thousands of views, and seeing like departments like getting overflow of like applications and off of my videos is very impactful. And just being out in the field really is important to me because I love my city, and I always want to give back to my city any way I can, and even just spreading knowledge over videos, just by making them and letting it be known in the city that these resources is available is like important to me. So
yeah. And how long have you been with the city?
I've been with the city for 1 year.
Yeah, and I can honestly say that you have grown so much in that 1 year. I mean, it's amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate Ray for taking my lead on like anything creative wise, and really just trusting me, and really thank you for trusting me, and thank you to Shamir for really recommending me to join the team and stuff, because within 1 year my whole life changed, and this is a life-changing opportunity that I didn't know that was available in the city of Detroit as a creative.
That's awesome.
And you know, let me just say this. I'm sitting real close to this handsome young man over here. We're sharing a mic. I just want you to know. But you know, this is a wonderful experience with these young people because this is next Detroit.
Yes.
This
now
is next
Detroit. And now Detroit.
Now Detroit.
Yep.
But this is next Detroit. This is what is going to come after we're no longer in service to the city.
Yes.
This is what we're looking at. This is our leadership. These are our directors.
And before we go, how can people plug into Youth Affairs?
Yeah, so y'all, first and foremost, follow us on Instagram at City of Detroit Don. That's DON. All right. And then also our email. So you can contact me, Shamir Duncan. It's shamir.duncan@detroitmi.gov.
You contact me, logan.newman@detroitmi.gov.
Devon.Trevier at detroitmi.gov.
All right, perfect.
I know, Vicky, we keep saying that they're young. Do y'all mind sharing your age?
Sure. I would love to share my age. So I'm 20, going on 21.
I'm 24, not Unk status. So
Any of Cody Comment, FYI.
Yeah, shout out Cody Comments, man. We on the radio here.
I am 20.
All right, young people.
And I'm going to go back to my statement. Young people. They are young.
We could only go back.
Right, doing big things.
And hats off to you, Ray.
Oh, just
you know, hats off to you.
Yes.
Most definitely.
And I mean, I will say this about the mayor. If you have a good idea, you can prove it, you can pitch it, he will support you. So it was the chain of command. So these young people were dynamic. Vicky, you were in cabinet, blew everybody away, and he got behind the program.
Yes. Well, congratulations to a job well done, and continue to do great things. And thanks so much for taking time out of your Sunday to join us on the program. And with that, we're going to wrap it up for the month, and we'll see you the first Sunday of August.
First Sunday, right back here, Hot 107.5 WGPR. This has been Detroit for Life. See you first Sunday.